One of the things we were worried about in the life we knew before coronavirus was privacy invasion and being monitored everywhere we go. And, just a lifetime ago, we were talking about that being a problem. It's hard to imagine being monitored at a level where we actually could know every exposure everyone is possibly having to this pathogen. It seems daunting to me. It also seems unlikely to be effective because if we're out there and the virus is circulating, there will be many exposures. We'll maybe know something about which ones occurred, and maybe even with the best tracking, it'll be a fairly blunt instrument, and there are some exposures we won't know about. But I don't see how it's effective for interdiction. If exposure is occurring and you're hoping to prevent it, you're back to lockdown. If exposure is occurring and it's leading to antibody production, that's a good thing. And frankly, you can get there by measuring immunity and tracking levels of viral transmission that result in a need for medical care without monitoring everybody's movements. So it concerns me, and I think it invades areas where we're concerned about privacy and civil liberties and such, and I don't see tremendous advantage in it.
I'll make a prediction. We'll have vaccine passports here by the fall, certainly by next year. Airlines, cruise ships, hotels, gyms, bars, they're all going to say, look, in order for us to tell our customers that it's safe, we want to see that passport. Absolutely coming.
Big Apple has officially launched a voluntary pilot program for immunity passports at two of their biggest stadiums, Madison Square Garden and the Barclays Center. Here's how it works. Some visitors will get a pass, much like a boarding pass for an airplane, that they can download on their phone or print out. It will contain a unique QR code, which venues will scan to confirm that they've been vaccinated, or at least have recently gotten a negative COVID test.
All right, I'm here to download the Government Leave Home Safe app. The app will keep a record of all the places I've been. And government officials have said that none of that information will be kept on a central server and will just be kept on my phone. And all that data will be deleted after 31 days. But if somebody who's infected with COVID-19 has visited the same place around the same time that I've visited, the app will notify me and give me advice on what to do. So let me record my visit. I'm right here in the Central Library. Let me scan that. So it has recorded that I've been to the library. Alrighty, so I've left the library. Let me say that I've left here as well. Yes, I'm leaving now. I'm at the Danglongzhou Market here in Causeway Bay. This one was a bit difficult to find. I'm here at the bank in busy Causeway Bay. Let me scan in as well. Here we go.
The biggest mistake that we make as Americans is we believe that our adversaries have the same rules, the same values, and the same goals as we do. And they could not be more diametrically opposed. Those values and those rules are used against us all day, every day. This warfare is our warfare, our civilians, us as civilians. Remember, it's rooted in no rules. They have a philosophy, or live or die. We as Americans and our Western allies and NATO allies, we believe in rules. We believe in win or lose. Our adversaries believe in live or die. They must live and we must die. It's all cloaked under plausible deniability. When somebody gets caught, wasn't us. We don't know him. We don't know her. Everything is cloaked in plausible deniability. It's focused on comprehensive weakening of American society, American economy, and our way of life. Ultimate goal is complete takeover. Who's behind all this? Number one is the Chinese Communist Party, emphasis on communist. Number two, Russian FSB, the governments of all of these countries, emphasis on communist underpinnings. Xi Jinping said that we will fight the bloody battle to gain our rightful place back in the world.
QR codes have now become the passports that allow Chinese people to move around. To get into a shop, one must show a green health code proving good health. This is obtained by scanning a mosaic through a mobile app.
Friends, today I just realized the purpose of the health barcode. It is not a certificate proving that we are healthy. If that was the purpose, would authorities allow us to fill out the health information ourselves when the barcode card was given to us? It is an electronic ID system that tracks our movements and whereabouts. That is, when you scan your barcode before entering a supermarket, it appears that a staff member is looking at the scan result at the front desk. But in reality, at the same time, your whereabouts are being tracked electronically on a remote system. That your community staff treat you as an enemy. They will come to your home, measure your temperature, and then take you to a place for isolation. You can't self-quarantine at home. You are sent to a centralized isolation facility where you stay with other people who may be infected. You have to pay the cost of staying there.
What she said is very true. The health barcode system has turned China into a big data prison. Everyone is wearing electronic shackles and risks the danger of mandatory quarantine and discrimination at any time. In a recent video taken in Wuhan, everyone on a bus had to go to a quarantine site because one person with a red health barcode was on the bus.
Precautionary measures are reinforcing the Chinese state's surveillance. After analyzing the code of one of these apps, this journalist found that once registered, the user's data was handed over to the police.
There's nothing on the app to tell you that the police are in any way involved. It says that this is a government service, but then it doesn't sort of specify beyond that, so it's pretty surprising to then see this beacon that's immediately going to police.
Public records and leaked documents suggest that WeChat is working closely with Chinese police and sharing the data without users' knowledge. Internal and public records both show that police authorities have access to the health code's data. The Epoch Times obtained an internal announcement from Xiong'an New Area, a state-backed megacity project in Hebei province, that noted that the local police bureau would be in charge of big data analysis, data mining, and in-depth application of the health code. According to a government notice dated in May, in Tianjin City, app users' personal information is cross-checked with a number of governmental departments.
What was considered an unreasonable fear in many countries around the world when it comes to contact tracing, which is being used to help control the novel coronavirus. The idea that this could, for example, be used for totalitarian social monitoring, well, this has now become a reality in China. The local government of China's Jiangsu province has launched a new social control system that combines the CCP's health code program with the regime's social credit system to create what they're calling a, quote, civilization code. This new system gives people a civilization score, which ranks them into different levels. And this level is then used by the government to judge who gets priority or who should be subjected to restrictions or punishments.
China has come up with a way to limit the virus's spread. It's calling for a global firewall in the form of a global system of QR codes that would allow cross-border travel to resume.
China has proposed a global mechanism for the mutual recognition of health certificates based on nucleic acid test results in the form of internationally accepted QR codes. We hope more countries will join this mechanism.
Democratic New York Governor Andrew Cuomo on Tuesday announced a new program that will require New Yorkers to show a COVID-19 passport to enter sports arenas, theaters, and other businesses. What they're doing here is they're not, instead of relinquishing the additional powers they created for themselves, they're creating new rights while maintaining those powers for us. In other words, freedom is no longer a right under this. Freedom is a privilege under this. You are not being given back your rights. Rights now under things like this are something granted to you by the government. This is an interesting story from the National Pulse. It says here, exclusive, Bill Gates Foundation funded genomics firm mining DNA data through COVID tests. And this is concerning because this is one of the big things that people in China were concerned about. After the Chinese Communist Party took Hong Kong, when they ended autonomy in Hong Kong, and they did these mass virus tests, that was the big concern you had in Hong Kong. A lot of people were concerned the Chinese Communist Party was collecting DNA data through these tests. And it seems now that there's some credibility to this. Let's go into this. Now it says here, according to National Pulse, BGI Genomics, the Chinese Communist Party linked genomics firm flagged by U.S. officials as mining, quote unquote, the DNA of Americans, has collaborated extensively with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the National Pulse can reveal. The company has recently come under fire following a 60 minutes expose on the company's use of COVID-19 tests to, quote, collect, store, and exploit biometric information on American citizens, according to former U.S. intelligence officials. What's more, a recent Reuters article linked the firm to the Chinese Communist Party's military. In addition to the Obama administration's enabling the firm to gain a firm foothold in the U.S., the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation played a critical role in BGI's American expansion.
Today, the Trump administration has its own hands full with China. The disagreements range from human rights, trade, to national security to Hong Kong. Because of its sheer size, China gets away with behavior the world would never tolerate from any other country. My simple message tonight is that bad behavior must be confronted, not appeased. And that you in the West need to have confidence in the superiority of your own system. China is never embarrassed to assert its own values, even though these values are rude. If I could leave America with one thought, it would be this: do not underestimate your moral strength and promote your values instead of apologizing for them.